Man, Musa at the box. LSU, they lose it 13-10 to Northeastern. They fall to 11-2. It was not a pretty night at the box, save for a really inspiring rally there by the young players down the stretch of the game to make the score look a lot more respectable than it really ever deserved to be tonight. LSU came into this ball game having bounced back from a midweek loss, winners of 3 straight, and looking, quite honestly, to erase some offensive struggles at the plate and really bounce back in that regard too. And instead, LSU laid an egg in every facet of baseball for the first 6 innings of the ball game. That's basically what happened. They were horrible for 6 innings in this game. You gave up hard contact left and right. You had some free passes in there. You committed 3 errors, 4 total for the game, and you were abysmal at the plate. Pretty much sums up the first 6 innings of the ball game, to the point where you started playing out the string of the game. Like, that's what happened. Every starter was taken out of the ball game, all of them. And you got a lot of young guys action, and that's great. You know what? They battled hard. But the story is just a really, really, really bad performance. This team is going to improve. We know that. This team is going to have some really high moments this season. This isn't one of them. I can't tell you that this is going to be a long show because I don't really have much to say because there's not much to say off of that. They played really bad. They dug too deep of a hole. They couldn't climb out of it. I will tell you right now, the only real takeaway I have from this baseball game tonight is what happened in the 2nd and 3rd inning and who it happened against. Cooper Williams and Zach Cowan have to be better. That's it. They have to be better. Those are 2 players that LSU needs to be really good in their bullpen. And right now, they aren't. That's as bluntly as I can put it. They aren't. Cooper Williams is a guy who has a true freshman at LSU, pitched in Omaha, pitched big innings for you in the regional, pitched big innings for you down the stretch of the season, made 21 appearances, and had a 1.80 ERA. Had an awesome preseason leading into this season. A guy who you thought could potentially not only be one of the best lefties in your bullpen, but maybe even compete for a starting rotation spot at some point this season. And instead, it has been a really disappointing start to the season for him. He gave up 4 runs tonight. Only one of them were earned because, well, like I said, you laid an egg in every facet of the game of baseball. But he's got to be better for you than he has been. And then Zach Cowan, Zach Cowan is going to have opportunity on this team. Zach Cowan is going to have probably some pretty high moments this year. But I don't know how you trust him at this current moment. He is getting smashed. Like, the contact is hard. The command is not there, and his stuff is getting obliterated because it is not it's not electric enough. 12 hits for Zach Cowan this season. 12 hits given up by Cowan in 4 innings. Is that right? In 4 innings. 12 hits in 4 innings. He has to be better. This is very reminiscent of what happened to him down the stretch of the season a year ago. And I'm going to tell you, it's a touch concerning at this point now. if you want to go through some of the game, I don't really know why you would, but if you want to go through some of the game, the second inning turned into a complete disaster right off the stop, right off the jump with the infield sinker by Brinker, where John Pearson left his position and fielded a ball that was not his. In any universe of baseball, that is the second baseman's ball, especially with a lefty on the mound, who it's a lot harder to get over and cover the bag, and that started everything. The problem is Cooper Williams didn't respond well to it. Then after that, you have the throwing error on Williams himself that advances the runner. There's the small adversity there that Jay Johnson talks about and wants them to respond well to, and they didn't. And that's why, even though Cooper Williams had some bad luck, I look at it and go, he has to be better. You had a fielding error later in the inning by John Pearson. That gave you 2 errors in that inning. That was on Cowan's first batter where that should have been an out. And then ultimately, Feinberg, you give up the big hit. And it's a crooked number of 4 instead of minimizing the damage to 2. And then in the 6th inning, you allowed 6 2-out runs. I don't really have much for you there. Cowan left a lot of pitches over the plate and got smashed. You need more from those 2 guys. Like, that's my takeaway. That is the takeaway for me, is those 2 guys have to be better because they have to pitch big innings for this LSU team. You were very deep. And look, you didn't even see Plog, like you didn't see Garcia. I mean, you can go down the list. There's a lot of guys you didn't see. You have plenty of pitching left to go on Wednesday night. Who you're going to start, we can talk about that later. We can talk about that tomorrow night when we drop the show. But Williams and Cowan have to start taking steps forward for this team. That is my takeaway from this game. That's my takeaway. Those 2 guys are looked on to be too important for this pitching staff to where I look at a guy like Zach Cowan and I'm seriously questioning if you can count on him at this point, and I don't think that you can right now. He's got to dial it back in. But he will continue to get opportunity because you've seen it from him. Now, aside from that, do I think the schedule has played a little bit of part in this? I do. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse. They're not going to use that excuse, and they shouldn't use that excuse. We talked about this in the preseason when I did the schedule video. We talked about their stretches in the pre-conference, and that is how they were going to challenge this team. Like, that's how they were going to do it. So, no, we're not using that as an excuse. Are they tired? I'm sure they are. Do they need a day off? Yeah, probably. But they're not going to get one. They're going to practice tomorrow, and then they're going to go into a hornet's nest at the Teague, and you're going to find out what this team's made of a little bit right now. Not totally. Wednesday night's not going to define the season. Tonight's not going to define the season. Like I said, they're going to have a lot of high moments this year. It's a good baseball team. They didn't play like it tonight, and tonight wasn't one of the high moments. If you want the good news, and I truly believe this, they can't play any worse than they did tonight. That's as bad as it can get for this team. It is. Like, that's my silver lining for you tonight. I truly believe that's as bad as they can play. When nothing went right in any facet of the game. Defensively, whether it was fielding, whether it was shifts, on the mound, at the plate. Like, this is the worst game they've played all year. And if they would have won that game somehow, yes, you would have had to give credit to the young guys at the end, but that would have been theft if LSU pulled off a win tonight. They did not deserve to win that baseball game. And ultimately, they didn't. Ultimately, they didn't. Now, that being said, you have to move on. You have to move on. That's what baseball is about. And you have one hell of a test coming on Wednesday night. Cajuns are a pretty good team. They're a pretty good team. They have played 5 games against Power 4 competition. They have won all 5. They swept Maryland. They swept Kansas State in the midweek. The young man you're probably going to see on the mound, Sawyer Pruitt, has pitched a lot for them as a freshman and been really good. But we can get into that a little bit more. But that's going to be a good litmus test for this team on Wednesday night. And you're going to have, most obvious statement of the night, you're going to have to play a lot better than you did in every facet of the game than you did in this one. I would like to credit the young guys at the end of the game. You saw some really good at bats. You saw guys get extended at bats and make adjustments. I was really happy to see Eddie Yaman get the home run. That's just a really cool moment for him, man. That's a guy who transferred in from Dayton, didn't get to play a lick at all on a championship team a year ago, stuck around. Really cool moment for him. That was awesome to see. Loved seeing William Patrick get the first hit. Loved seeing Daniel Harden, who absolutely blistered a ball to right field in his previous at-bat, and it got caught. He got completely robbed. For him to come back and get the hit, that was awesome. Jack Ruckert had a nice hit in that rally as well. And you know what, man? They played hard, and they took some really good at-bats. And here's the thing. If that doesn't fire up this team, seeing the young guys get in there and friggin' take at-bats and not quit and honestly clean up the mess that was made for them. I know you win as a team and you lose as a team. I really probably shouldn't have termed it that way. That was not the right way to say that. But like, if that can't light a fire under this team right now, then it's come to Jesus time. Like, then it's come to Jesus time for this team. And I'd rather that happen now than any other time in the season, obviously. But I have faith that it will turn around. And we'll get an answer to that on Wednesday night, if that's the first step in it. But shout out to the young guys, man. They battled their ass off, and that's really admirable. That shows the want and the care from this team that is there. So we're proud of that part, obviously. Yeah, that's really all I got on the game. It wasn't very good. Y'all have questions? I'll take a few questions, and I'm going to bed. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Well, that pretty much says it all then. Edward O. Harden in left field. I mean, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him get an opportunity. I don't think you're going to. I don't think you're going to see that happen. Mitchell Kyle says, want to see more Primo. I do, but in settings like tonight. I want to see more of him in the midweek and him string together good outings there before really seeing him on the weekend. For Primo, I love that the guy's a program guy. He stuck around. He could have transferred, all those things, gone somewhere he was going to get a lot more mound time, and he didn't. So I love that. But consistency in strikes has been an issue for him. So if I'm going to see more Primo, which I would like to, I want to see it more in the midweek before moving him up. Noah Lejeune, what pitchers do we have for Wednesday? Top of my head, Newt, Guidry, Sheeran, Plogs, Garcia. I need to look at it. I'll look at that. That'll be in the that'll be in the preview for ULL. So stick around for that. Someone asked, I don't know who it was, if I ever turn the game off tonight. No, of course not. I have to do a whole post-game show, and I wouldn't have turned the game off anyway. I'm a freaking sicko. I mean, what can I say? Caleb Guidry, Pearson at first. Yeah, I don't think you'll be seeing that anymore. Armanti says, what do you think is wrong with Mason? I think he's a freshman. I mean, guys, He's really good, but he's a freshman. It happens. Same thing, I think you're starting to see Cerna look like a freshman finally. It just, the deeper they get into this season, it's going to get tougher. They'll have good moments as well, though, for sure. Mitchell Kyle says, do you want to see Binge? Sure. But again, same thing as Primo in this setting before you move him to the weekend. Child Time says, Moose, can this team get to where they want to with Cowan repeating last season? You mean without? Like without Cowan repeating last season's form? I mean, if he repeats last season's form, of course they can. Without it, sure. They have the depth. You just need others to step up. And that's what these next few games are going to be about, is who can take those innings. Because I'm not the coach. And Jay Johnson has forgotten more about baseball than I know. But I can't trust putting Zach Cowan in a tight SEC game on the road in Nashville right now. I can't. Jay might. But for me, someone else has got to step up there. We'll see. Matthew Garza says, is Jay going to shake up the lineup some more? Guys, I will continue to say it's an execution problem, not a lineup problem. Like, it is an execution problem. At LSU, there was a freaking closer on the mound. A freaking closer on the mound from Northeastern who went 5 1/3. You're not executing. You're not executing. They've shaken the lineup up plenty. But what I'm going to tell you, you're not going to send a bunch of freshmen out into the lineup to go play in front of 5,500 people at the Teague on Wednesday night in a just a raucous environment. Like, they're going to go with their guys. They have to execute better. They have to execute better. That's all it comes down to. They can do it. Like, we've seen them do it. It's there. We know they're capable. But they are not good right now. That's okay. There were times a season ago with the offense. There were times a season ago in much more dire spots of the season than this, where they were real bad. Y'all remember the sweep at Auburn? Y'all remember the sweep at Auburn? They were brutal that weekend offensively. I should have grabbed my legal pad before coming over here so I could have the notes from that series. They were awful. Hold on. Let's that series at Auburn, when LSU got swept, they entered 10-2 in the league. 10-2 in the league a year ago. They couldn't really score hardly anything. They weren't getting runners in from third. They were leaving guys on base. There wasn't the 2 outs, hitting there at all in that series. LSU scored a total of 8 runs over 3 games that weekend. Then they beat McNeese, and no one thought anything of it. Said, well, that's McNeese. Let's see what happens. And then they scored 11 in the first game against Alabama. Went on to win that series, and kind of the rest is history. They would go on to run rule Tennessee, run rule Arkansas. The offense clicked again, and it was fine going forward, and you rode it all the way to a national championship. You're hitting grand slams in the postseason, all that stuff. It's doable. You got run ruled by Northwestern State a season ago. Like, all that's doable. But, I mean, you went into that Auburn weekend, you had scored 3 in the series finale against Oklahoma, 5 against Nichols on a weekday, and you scored 8 against Auburn. And, man, what's going on? And then you scored 10 and 11 in back-to-back games. It clicked again. It'll click again for this team. They weren't executing then. You saw some lineup maneuvers that maybe helped out a little bit, but right now those aren't even helping because it's execution. You're not benching Jake Brown. You're not benching Derek Coryell. You're not benching Stephen Milam, right? Like you're not benching Trent Caraway. He's hitting 300. Like your guys are your guys for a reason. They have to execute better. And that's what they'll continue to work on. And Jay will get it right. But if it's the last thing that man does, he gonna get it right. That's why I say, again, like they weren't good. But they're gonna have a lot of high moments. They're gonna have a lot of high moments this year. It's still a good ball club. Like, Wednesday's a big opportunity. A big opportunity on Wednesday. But they're gonna have to be better in every facet of the game. Every single one of it. Because they weren't tonight. But again, how about the young guys? I mean, the young guys put up 8 runs for you in the last 3 innings. Really good. Really good from those guys. Future's bright for all of them. That's encouraging. But the first 6 innings were real bad. Mitchell Kyle says Northeastern does beat it. Y'all, it is like more than possible that we look up on Memorial Day and Northeastern is in the field of 64. I'm not justifying losing to them the way LSU did, but I think you can see that team has some talent. And I even talked about this in the preview of this entire weekend. That's a team that really tested themselves with their schedule. And when they get into the Coastal, they're going to win a lot of games. They put the graphic up there tonight. The coaches in that league picked them to win the league. So, probably won't end up being like that bad of a loss, right? But then again, who knows? Who cares? You go win 18 games in the SEC and no one gives a crap that you lost to Northeastern. But it just... They need to get right at the plate, and they need to get Williams and Cowan moving in the right direction. That's what I want. And the offense, I'm very confident in. They will get that moving in the right direction because Jay Johnson always does. All right. Any more questions? I don't even remember who asked that question about, and I don't remember what it was about. I really don't. But I went on a tangent and a rant, and that happened there. Fred says so much orange juice will be consumed tonight. Yeah, Jay's probably going to go through a gallon. Ugh. And the catcher play was not good tonight. Nothing was good tonight. Except for the young guys at the end of the game, nothing was good tonight. Like, that's it. The catcher play was actually really bad on both sides. All right. Y'all smash the like button on the way out. It's one game. They'll get it right. And there'll be some really high moments for this team. But that was ugly. And if we're going to praise them, we're going to criticize them when it's warranted. And it was warranted tonight. So, smash the like button. Please share. Follow on social media. Be here next time for more on Moose with the Box.